So we can help more people.
You got kicked over to the corner?
I'm in the hot seat.
Oh, yeah. Apparently, who kicked me over?
I
That's
have
all
all
right.
the dignitaries on top of the table.
I'd be fine if I had to stay home.
They moved.
I like it.
I'm what?
They kicked me off
what?
the head table.
You are getting a lease? Okay, well, I asked Audra about it the last time. She goes, well, I guess Robert's still working on it and whatever, some of the little issues talked about with the Rangers and all that kind of stuff. So you got everything worked out?
It's enough that we're not.
Can't complain.
No, I'm on an apple.
Can't complain. Don't make it move. It's making a little money.
Living the dream.
We got our Dell OS approved yesterday officially to BOCC, so now we can figure out this short-term rental and get these collections up. That's the goal. Increase the budget. Is the goal.
What's going to happen in October? They're going to quit the sales tax.
You just said.
You can what, sell alcohol? Store?
Choosing vice. I know, but it wasn't, it wouldn't go to that spot.
Can they not store alcohol in any
I'm not out of
of the city?
I'm sorry.
I mean, I wonder if there was a rule or something, I don't know.
We need a picture together.
We do, we're wearing our pink today.
Can I just say 100?
So we gotta correct this. I mean, even if I have a 12-hour till lock.
Yeah, it doesn't match quite, but this actually matches your.
This thing, but this is our. Well, you guys already had
C4
saw
belts.
the media. So that's the majority of it. And then it's the grants. Yeah, I know. But usually this is about a door. So keep that.
I'll check. I'll see if you can get it done by 11.
Catch you after.
Okay. Our favorite friend that drove that.
No, it's lack of volunteers, lack of treasurer.
I think it's you.
There he is.
Your friends yesterday.
Somehow we slid past 9.
We what?
Slid past 9.
Good morning, Polly.
Good morning. I seem to have a long-standing delusion that I'm running early on Wednesday mornings, and then I slide in at 8:59 if I'm lucky.
Well, at least you're here.
Well, traffic was bad. No, Tuesdays are bad. Just remember, I'm chairing this right after, my schedule on Wednesday morning has a lot to do with how it goes on Tuesday. Where is the actual? Traffic was still bad. Yeah, I saw you walking in when I,
Yeah, it's not even
apologies to
season yet.
everyone, just let me get my bearings for half a second. Mike, we're striking what?
Strike E1.
E1.
That's already been taken care of. That was last agenda, correct?
What's that?
E1 is on the last agenda and it's already been taken care of.
No. It's just a
Overcome by events.
yeah trip in Gainesville next week. I can't make, so we're not even gonna worry about it.
Right. In the meantime, my glasses are foggy. All right, call this meeting to order the Tourist Development Council. Today is September 10th, 2025, 9-ish a.m. Let's call 9:03. And who would like to give the invocation this morning? Anyone? Max, you always do a great job.
Okay, well, if y'all will stand with me and.
And then the pledge after, please.
Dear Lord, we're doing it again. We're back together trying to do the government's business, trying to be a county that has great tourism and that have people that benefit from it. And we just ask that you help we do this, and through it all, you help us to be good stewards of their money. We ask in your holy name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
And all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Would anybody like to speak open to the public? 3 minutes, take the podium, sir, and state your name for the record, please.
I'm Ben Martin. I'm editor-in-chief of Coastal Angler Magazine. Thank you so much for allowing me to address you guys. I met this group 16 years ago in very humble beginnings. 16 years ago, I am or was until recently an East Coast Florida resident, Cocoa Beach, Florida. Happy to say I'm now a Crystal River resident. 16 years ago, I met with you guys and I said, you know, scalloping is mysterious to people on the East Coast of Florida. We hear about it, we want to do it, but we're not sure when the season starts, and by the time we know about scalloping each year, the season's over. I said, I think if you could get your message out to the entire state of Florida about the season when it opens, how easy it is, that it's beautiful activity for families and kids, that people from all over the state would come over here and enjoy scalloping. Well, that you guys trusted us, and we did just that. And what I've observed over the past 16 years is really phenomenal. I'm now a resident over here. I think you've had a substantial amount of growth. On my street in Crystal River, there are 10 homes. 6 of those homes are vacation homes out of 10. But a lot of things have changed in 16 years. Yes, we're a fishing magazine. When I met with you 16 years ago, we had 14 locations throughout Florida. We're a franchise publication. Today we have 24 locations throughout the country, all the way to Mississippi, Alabama, Boston, Carolinas, Georgia. Each franchise location prints 10,000 copies of the magazine. They're a free resource for outdoor enthusiasts. Pick them up at the tackle shops. Nothing to, no Pulitzer Prizes being won at Coastal Angler Magazine, but our readership, outdoor enthusiasts, love it. But that's changed too. Today our readers want to get their information here. So 9 years ago, we stumbled into a new product, an invention that we're real proud of to have been the originator of it. It's called a video magazine. It's like a magazine on your phone, but as you scroll the pages, videos come up. So an advertiser like yourselves can have editorial, an ad, and a video. What I'd like to help you guys do this upcoming year is to design programs, 4 programs throughout the year, where we encourage people to come over for 4 different reasons, not just for scalloping, not just for manatees. The redfish fishing around the corner from my house is just fantastic. And one of the reasons that I moved over here was the water quality. There is a big water quality problem on the east coast of Florida.
Have you, and your 3 minutes went up a little
Okay,
bit ago,
sorry.
but that's okay. We're interested, so have you have you interacted with our staff at all? with
No, and I'll
Getting
tell-
them immediate,
No, I'll tell
Yeah.
you, and I'll tell you why. We're a franchise publication. So I have a franchisee named Kerry Crutchfield that runs the Citrus County all the way to Ocala franchise territory. Kerry's 84 years old. His wife Lynn is 83. Now, of course, I'm not much younger than them, but their grasp of the digital world is a little. It would be awkward for them to. So I've asked their permission to work directly with you guys. It's easy for me now. I live in Crystal River, so if after this meeting I'll send all of you a text or an email with a link to the video magazine so you can take a look at it. Or if you've got your phones with you, you just type in vidmag.com and you'll see the new magazine that we have. It goes out to 3,200,000 anglers each month, and our renewal rate is very strong. And you're also going to see 7 or 8 tourism bureaus from around the country in the video magazine.
okay.
So what we'd like to do is work with you to put a good, solid program together and support it with editorial.
Okay.
There's my pitch for the morning, guys. Thank you
We
so
have
much.
an
for your-
outstanding team, professional staff that figures all this out.
I know.
Where is our outstanding team of professional staff?
Eating Hershey bars.
Well, yeah. I think
We're missing a few.
Kelly and Terry are eating Hershey bars in Hershey, Pennsylvania at the RV show.
Ah, yes.
Not eating Hershey bars, I'm joking, but they're at the largest RV show in America. So representing the destination. So they're there all week. And then we're, of course, still down to staff. And then Christina and Stephanie and myself are representing. So hopefully we're good enough.
Why is Stephanie not sitting up here?
Well, I asked her. I think she's more comfortable back in the back, Her power is behind the scenes, trust
You
me.
should get used to it, Stephanie. It's a good career builder to get comfortable sitting in.
So
Who's spotlight?
I look forward to interacting with you guys this year. I'm right around the corner from Michael.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you guys so
Thanks, man.
much.
all right.
Should I give you one of my cards?
Yeah.
Still my business cards. If you
Would-
do. Thank you guys.
Did the beeping stop?
Yes.
Okay. I was about to call for backup.
Was that adequate? Do you need anything else?
And that's
from me?
totally, it all goes through staff,
Okay.
honestly, so, thank you. Anyone else like to speak and open to the public? All right, we'll close open to the public. Miles Partnership presentation.
Great. Let me share my screen. Can you guys all see my screen okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you for your time today. We're excited to show you our media plan presentation that we have developed for Citrus County for fiscal year 2026. Just a quick round of team introductions before we get started. My name is Lillian Rexford. I have been an account manager for Citrus County for over a year and a half now. I work alongside Liz Mabe and Samantha Summers, who you've likely seen before in some of these meetings. And then today I'm also joined by Craig, Katie, and Hannah, our media planners for this account, who developed the media plan for this upcoming fiscal year for Citrus County. And you'll be hearing a little bit more from Katie in a little bit to walk through the plan. So the purpose of this is to develop an integrated media plan for Citrus County that promotes leisure travel in 2026. And so diving into what we will be covering today in the agenda, we will walk through the media strategy behind the plan. We'll go over the partners and the creative, as well as the flow chart, and then we'll have some time at the end for some Q&A. So with that, I'll pass this over to Katie to walk you guys through the media strategy.
Perfect. Thank you, Lillian, for kicking us off. So we're going to spend a little bulk of our time here talking over our media strategy first. This helps us to make sure that we're all aligned on the overarching media strategy, but also helps to kind of understand how our individual tactics and partners that we're proposing for 2026 relate to the overall strategy. So first, we wanted to highlight a few objectives and considerations that we really wanted to focus on this year. These came from not only initial conversations with the Discover Crystal River team when we began planning for 2026, but also various conversations that we've had throughout the year. So first and foremost, we want to increase visitor spending with trackable revenue attribution, cost per SIT, and ultimately increase the length of stay where we can. We also want to boost engagement not only across the website, but also through social media properties using compelling content and targeted strategies. And we want to elevate overall brand awareness in our key markets to drive higher interest, recognition, and recall.
Hey, are you able to hear us? What's SIT?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't hear that. But an SIT can be, it's like a partner referral, something on your website, like a e-news sign up, something of that nature.
What's the acronym?
So it's an
What's
action
the
on the
acronym
website.
stand for?
I honestly don't know. I can look it up. We always just reference it as SIT kind of as a bucket for all of those different like partner referrals and actions that people take on the
Significant
website.
interaction, touch, something. I don't know.
Transaction?
Yeah, I could take a guess, but I might be wrong, so I don't want to give you incorrect
Okay, well,
information.
at least it
Thomas,
wasn't
you
just
Googling
me.
it?
Yeah.
Strategy, identity, technology.
There you go.
Well, that makes
Sounds
it as clear as mud, too.
Okay,
Okay, keep going,
Yeah.
sorry.
no problem.
Flashcards for
okay.
this business.
So when we're looking at our overall media objectives, we want to keep in mind the consumer funnel. So this kind of helps us visualize the consumer journey through the initial touch point of becoming aware of Citrus County as a destination all the way through to booking their trip to the destination. So when we're looking at the top of the funnel, we're looking at the awareness bracket there, which is hopefully where we're going to introduce people to Citrus County as a destination, and we're going to inspire them using high reach channels and tapping into some trusted publishers. Then hopefully we'll move people further down the funnel to the middle of the funnel where they'll start considering the destination for their next trip. So here we want to deepen their interest by delivering engaging content on channels where they're already researching destinations. And then finally, we want to move them to the bottom of the funnel, which is we call response, where we're going to retarget users who have already shown interest in the destination with trip planning resources to drive site visits and ultimately drive them to book their trip to the destination. And then if we're looking at the funnel in the terms of tactics, this is a really good way to showcase how the individual partners and tactics that we're putting on the plan all kind of affect each other and move people further down the funnel from the first initial touch point all the way down to when they're booking their trip. So if we're looking at awareness, we're going to use high reach tactics like digital out of home and print. We're going to tap into some of our local partnerships that often include broadcast and social media. And then we're also going to utilize some custom partnerships where, once again, we can dive into those trusted publishers and create kind of long form storytelling to create an emotional connection with our audience there. And then as we move people further down the funnel to consideration, we're going to continue reaching them via social and our digital partnerships, once again, just staying top of mind, making sure that they're continuing to engage with our content in some form. And then ultimately, when they finally get to the response category, we're going to retarget them with interactive display. We're going to use our high impact rich media unit, which I'll show you guys in just a little bit, but it's very eye-catching, a little bit more intrusive than some of our other media tactics, and is great at driving people to the website. And then we're also going to use paid search for that as well. Okay, and then when we're looking at kind of the travel and tourism industry is a little tough when it comes to, we don't have immediate gratification for bookings, right? So it takes a while from the first touch point to get someone all the way down the funnel to booking their trip. That can be anywhere from 30, 90, even higher amount of days depending on the destination. So how do we measure success for these different individual levels of the funnel? How are these tactics, how can we show that they are actually moving people through the funnel? So in that awareness category, we're going to look at view completion rate for any of our video content. So that's making sure that people are spending time and watching the entire ad. Partner site engagement, so that's going to be, once again, on some of those custom content long form storytelling components. We want people to be spending time with that content. We want them to be clicking off of it onto the website or engaging with it in some form or fashion. And then, like I mentioned, we're going to be looking for high reach tactics like digital out of home and print. And then where we can, we're going to look for any type of brand lift that any of our vendors can show us. And then when we move into the consideration tactic, we're primarily going to be looking for engagement either on the website or within the unit itself. So if we're looking at the website, we're going to look at page views, engagements, which can be time on site, scroll depth, clicks off to different pages. We're going to look for e-news signups, conversions, which is also kind of a bucket term for all of those, plus like partner referrals or SITs, and then cost per action or cost per conversion. And then when we're looking at in-unit engagement, a good example of this would be on our paid social, for example. We want people to be liking, sharing, commenting, engaging with that content on that social channel. And then finally, if we're looking at our response category, we're going to be looking for searches or click-throughs to the website, especially when we're looking at our paid search category. And then we're also going to partner with Zartico again this year and utilize their new media attribution tool to attribute our media to bookings. And then we'll also use tourism economics booking data through our programmatic partner Atgenuity. Okay, now that we've kind of gone through the overall media objectives and how that relates to our tactics and our measures of success, let's look at how we're going to target this audience and how we're making sure that we're reaching a qualified audience for Citrus County specifically. So our overall approach is we always want to prioritize travel intenders overall for obvious reasons. And then we want to layer on our geographic targeting, which I'll show you a map in just a moment. And then we want to layer on our behavioral attributes or our audience segments. So some of those additional behavioral attributes can be nature enthusiasts, ecotourism, outdoor adventurers, family travelers, road trippers, active retired nature lovers, boating enthusiasts, golfers, cycling adventurers, or those that are looking for an active coastal experience when on a trip, event goers, parks and national park travelers, and wellness travelers. So it's all of the amazing things that Citrus County offers for travelers in the destination. So you'll notice that we didn't include any traditional demographic targeting in there, such as age and household income. While we know that this data is obviously very important for and can be useful in a lot of ways, it's great for understanding who your audience generally is so that you can make sure that your creative is speaking to them and matches who they are by age and household income, female versus male. That's great information to have, but when it comes to targeting, we can find that sometimes this can not include individuals that should probably be included. So by using behavioral targeting instead, we're able to dive into what our audience actually does, their interests and their intent, which allows us to deliver more relevant and timely messages. It leads to higher engagement and better conversion rates. And overall, it's a more efficient use of our marketing budgets because we're able to reach those people based on their current needs and their demonstrated preferences versus making kind of a broad stroke assumption on who they might be. Okay, and this is the map of our current geographic targeting. So you'll see a mix of in-state and out-of-state target markets here. And this hasn't changed. This was the same in 2025. So. Okay, and this is kind of an easier slide to view than like our traditional flow chart. We do have that slide included at the end, but this is a little easier to digest in a presentation to show that we are not only keeping an always on, consistent presence, but we're also using specific tactics to kind of heavy up in certain areas where it makes sense. So, for example, utilizing that high impact unit to drive conversions in those leading into the peak seasons, but also then continuing to keep awareness and gain additional reach in our shoulder seasons with digital out of home. Okay, and then I have a couple of slides that just kind of walk through the consumer journey and how our media plan can play into that. So this is one viewpoint, kind of a condensed viewpoint here, which shows, once again, the levels of the funnel. So if we're looking at when people move into awareness, they're going to be looking at digital out of home, broadcast and CTV, so those high reach channels, or possibly our custom content units, once again, kind of getting that emotional connection there. And then when they move into the consideration part of the journey, they're going to be utilizing some paid media, but also some not paid media tactics here. So for paid media, it'd be social and email, and also just before they book, probably some paid search. But then they're also going to look for reviews and word of mouth. And this kind of all leads into each other, so I'll show how those play into each other in just a minute. And then when they ultimately book, we want them to go to the website or different event websites if they're going for an event, so that they can get inspiration on things that they should do in the destination. And then ultimately, when they move into becoming an advocate after they have visited the destination, that's where we want to see them posting on their social network, maybe posting a blog, and then or a review, and then ultimately becoming that word of mouth, right? Telling their colleagues, oh, we had this amazing trip with the kids for spring break. They got to swim with the manatees, yada, yada. That's what we want them to do. And that plays back into someone else's consideration phase of their journey. So another way to view how our media can impact someone throughout their day to ultimately book in the destination and then become an advocate for Citrus County as a destination is by looking at a day in the life. So meet Kelly. We're going to look at a day in the life of Kelly. So Kelly is a single individual who lives in the city, but she prioritizes traveling. And when she travels, she loves to get outdoor in nature and just reconnect with the outdoor experiences. So when Kelly wakes up, she wakes up at 7 a.m. and like most of us do, she jumps on her social media to do a little bit of browsing before she gets up for the day. She sees one of our paid social channels and maybe she shares it with a friend or family member. Then at 8:30 a.m., she drives to work in the city and she sees one of our digital billboards. And once again, just reinforcing that message, hey, we're here. Take a look at us. Let's do some more browsing here. And then at 11 a.m., she takes a coffee break. She checks her email, and because she is an avid traveler, she subscribes to National Geographic, where she gets to read all about Citrus County in a National Geographic email, and she forwards that once again to a friend or a family member. She finishes her workday, gets home from work, and she just wants to unwind a bit. And so she does a little post-work browsing where she reads one of our custom articles. Once again, just diving into all the things that she could do that she's interested in Citrus County, and spending time with our brand. And then at 8 p.m., she does a little evening streaming where she sees our CTV ad or one of our broadcast ads through our local partnerships. And then finally, at 10 p.m., she does one last browse before she goes to sleep, and she is reading content on her favorite travel site or whatever site she wants to look at. And she sees our high impact unit, which is a little more intrusive and really gets her to finally click and go through to the website and look at all the things to do and ultimately book her trip to the destination. A little time goes by and she arrives to Citrus County, where she immerses herself in the market with all the things that she loves to do. And then after her trip, on her flight home, is where she then becomes an advocate for Citrus County by posting on her social media channel, I had an amazing trip to Crystal River, Florida. Like, wow, what an amazing time. I can't wait to book my next trip. Okay, now that we've looked at our overall media strategy and the consumer journey, we're just going to take some time to just go over a broad summary of our partners and our creative for 2026. I know that we have sent over the deck, kind of a larger deck, which shows a little more in-depth details about the individual partners. So I'm just going to give a kind of general overview here. But some partnership continuations from last year, we are continuing with those always-on tactics, so paid search or SEM, paid social, interactive display. Then we're going to continue with digital out-of-home, once again, kind of in that shoulder season. We're going to continue partnering with Nativo for that long-form custom content storytelling units. And then we have some local partnerships through Outdoor Sportsman Group, Visit Florida Visitor Guide, Real Animals, WFLA, and Florida Insider Fishing Report that we're continuing to partner with this year. Okay, and then some of our new partnerships this year, we have that the cargo runway unit, which is that high impact unit that I've mentioned a couple of times. This creates a memorable brand experience that really cuts through that travel messaging. So that's why we're recommending them there. We're also going to partner with Visit Florida for a CTV ad on Disney Plus. So by partnering with them, we're able to stretch our media budget to be a little more impactful while driving brand awareness for families when they're kind of starting to plan for spring break trips. And then we're really excited to partner with National Geographic this year. So, sorry, was there a question?
Just your pages and what we have in front of us don't match up.
Yeah, this is a little more of a condensed version than the larger form that you have. Sorry about that. Didn't want to go over all the information if you've already read through it, but if you have any questions, please let me know.
Is there discrepancies in the numbers?
No, it's just you don't have Tidewater Diaries in this one, and
So the presentation that they're presenting, we just took out, so we, instead of going over like 100 slides, for example, with them, we took some of them out to save some time since all the details are in the packet.
so which is real?
And we do have.
It's an overview that she's talking about, and
So
then
this
all the
one's real.
details in the packet.
Comprehensive one.
Good to know.
Tidewater Diaries, and we do have 2 slides here, so they will be in just a minute. I just couldn't fit them all on one slide for new partners.
No worries.
So we're really excited to partner with National Geographic this year. We've been working with them to contract some high-impact turnkey executions potentially for Citrus County, where we can tap into that trusted brand that is Nat Geo and utilize kind of their inspiring travel storytelling. We feel like that this partnership just makes sense. They align perfectly as far as nature and outdoor adventures, and also that ecotourism factor. Similar to that, Outside is another partner that we're excited to utilize this year for similar reasons. They have strong credibility in the outdoor and nature space. They're a trusted brand, and will be able to kind of gain some authenticity for Citrus County as a destination in that nature kind of world. So we'll be able to align with ecotourism values and connect travelers who seek sustainable and nature-focused experiences. And then Tiny Beans is a new partner this year as well. If you're not familiar with them, they are a leading subscription platform for parents where they can go on and share in a safe environment pictures of their kids with family and friends. But it also has grown to be just this hub of amazing resources for families. And one part of that is travel. So giving travel inspiration and recommendations for how they can take their family and travel with their young kids or to Citrus County.
What is the buzzword intentional parents? Not familiar with that.
So it's just they're being intentional with the safety of their kids and kind of making sure that whatever they're doing is factoring in how they can like safely and in a fun environment take their kids to a destination. So they're just being very intentional
Sorry, I
with where
had to
they
flag
share. Yeah, it's just
As opposed to accident.
because it is a private platform.
Doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Luann just said, in other words, it's doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Sorry, you got a bunch of older board members here. We're just laughing at that.
Yeah, no worries.
Well, you know,
I
we live in a
understand.
world. We live in a world these days. You know, we have to be very strategic in our word phrasing nowadays. You know.
Yes, that's definitely true.
Replace intentional with good parenting.
That's judgmental.
You guys are fine. We're just having a moment.
No,
Carry
that's
on.
okay.
I'm just trying to keep up
okay.
with my, keep within my Chat GPT budget.
And then here you'll see Tidewater Diaries, the Local Lines Media, and Chris Kingry Fishing. So those new local partnerships here. Okay, and then just to give a couple of examples of what our creative is looking like, on the left-hand side, you'll see our digital out-of-home, and then on the right, you'll see our print ads from this year. And then on the left-hand side of this slide is an example of that high-impact rich media unit through Cargo. This is a mock-up that they sent us, but as you'll see, it pops up at the bottom of the screen. It's a little more intrusive, and it has the manatee swimming across, so it has lots of movement. It's very eye-catching, and then it has continued movement there with the Learn About button that just drives people to click through to the website. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see our interactive display ads. We ran these this past year, but we are going to continue them this year, showcasing all of the amazing things there are to do in Citrus County, below the water and above.
So I have to say, the one on the left would drive me nuts normally, but how do you get rid of a manatee? They're just so adorable. Like, that would be really hard to X out, so.
Definitely has the cuteness factor for sure.
Any other comments?
No, those are great. The one online that I see a lot is the sea turtle coming out of the screen, just popping right out of the screen at you. It's pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah, we could do that with the manatee.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's a billboard in New York City, Manhattan. You look at you turn to the page, and out of the billboard comes the sea turtle right at you, and it says, Crystal River. It's pretty good.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, and then we'll show you the flow chart. Like I said, I know that this slide is kind of crazy. That's why we send it to you beforehand, so you can spend some time with it. But we like to include it, so if you do want to see what this looks like on the flow chart, here it is. And next slide. And then I just want to talk quickly about the funnel breakdown. As you'll see, we do have a little bit more put into awareness this year. There's a couple of reasons for this. One, because we just really wanted to partner with these trusted vendors such as Nat Geo, Outside, where we are aligning just perfectly with all the things that are to do in Citrus County. We felt like that alignment just made sense. Another thing to keep in mind with those vendors, though, is that even though we consider them primarily awareness partners, a lot of the tactics that we're running with them can go across the entirety of the funnel. We're also tapping into a very qualified audience with them. So they're avid travelers who are actively seeking inspiration. So they're already kind of moving themselves a bit down the funnel anyway. So aligning with that audience is really a high benefit for Citrus County. And then we made sure that for our consideration and our response tactics, we were using tactics that had either proven success as top performers for Citrus County specifically, Or like with that new high impact unit, they are very eye-catching and are units that we've seen great success with in other campaigns. And that's it for me. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah, I do have one question. So these people, and I know a lot of people that do surf this universe that you're working in, and how are they keeping track? I have of over time. Some people will spend 6 to 12 months deciding where they're going to go on their big vacation, and how are they tracking what they like about the destination and the place versus, like, some people will go to places because there's lots of events there and they like to go to events. Some people go to places because there's a specific thing like scallops. Are they using an app or something to hold all this knowledge, or are they just bookmarking like pages, and then how do they know which bookmarks are the highest? Because if you're working on this for 6 months out of the year and you finally decide, I'm going in this time period, I'm going because this event's on, but at the same time, there's a lot going on and it's the best time to go to the beach. How do they track all of that stuff?
Yeah, so hopefully I'm understanding the question correctly,
Yeah.
but when we're looking at how we're targeting them and showcasing they're interested in these activities on vacation, like I mentioned, with our behavioral targeting. So that's using data based on what they already have shown interest in. So if they are continuously reading about travel or destinations, or engaging with content that has lots of outdoor activities, that's one way. We utilize lots of different data partners that kind of gather all that data for us and put it into easy to understand individual audience segments. So if someone, let's say, is always looking up outdoor things to do outdoors, outdoor activities and locations, outdoor gear, they have already booked trips in the past that using their computer or their phone, and we can track it via their IP, then that they've already booked destinations in the past that had lots of outdoor activities, they would go into a category of outdoor adventure. So that would be how we would reach them, how we make sure that we're reaching people who have an interest in what there is to do in Citrus County.
I was actually wondering about the people that we're trying to get here, the people that we're trying to attract with your SEO and your flash high impact ads when they finally get there, and actually make them commit to filling out a survey or a questionnaire. I'm talking about the person who's doing this, the person we're attracting. They're in their house. How are they keeping all this stuff together? Because 100 years ago, you went to a travel store and you grabbed a bunch of brochures and you had stacks on your table, and all of a sudden you finally decide to go to this one. I'm trying to figure out what these people are using at home. Is it an app, or are they literally just bookmarking these Crystal River pages and then is there an app that people are using to track their requests, their interests?
Yeah, so I think that it really depends on each individual users, but there's many ways that you can do that, right? There are apps that you can use to plan your trips, or to keep specific information that you're interested in. I know a lot of people save things on social media, or like you said, they bookmark them in the top of their web browser or on their phone. Sometimes, my husband's a good example of this. He just leaves 1,000 tabs open on his browser on his phone and goes back to them eventually. So there's many different ways. I think that we all, kind of utilize them differently. It is not as simple anymore as generally having a brochure on your desk, but some people still work with travel, travel agents as well. I mean, there's many different ways that people go about planning and booking their trips, and it's just based on each individual user.
And Tom, I'll add to that real quick.
Yeah, thank you.
What I do is, like, from a personal standpoint, I'll use social media, and when something comes across my phone or whatever it is, there's usually a spot I can download that, or save it. I should say I should save it, and then I create a category like inspiration or vacation.
Right.
So that's kind of how I do my thing, so I don't have 1,000 tabs open, So then I'll go back to like vacation, my vacation or food ideas, right?
I want to be you when I grow up.
So yeah, so it helps, and
I do organize some stuff, but yeah.
yeah, so that's kind of what I do. But then what happens is when I save that, that's like an interaction engagement part for that particular ad or commercial or whatever it is, and then who's ever running that, for example, they can see, okay, well, this consumer did this, so what's going to happen is I know I'm going to be retargeted in some way, form, or fashion, and usually I am. So if I'm trying to do that, then all of a sudden I see now a fantasy coming across my phone. I'm like, what is going on? But that's because I engaged with that, So that's how I do it. But she's right though. I mean, everybody kind of has their own method of how they store the information is what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of an alternative way of getting to these people. If they're using an app to organize their thoughts and decide where to go, I mean, is that another place where we want to advertise? Thanks.
Yep.
I'm concerned. I have to tell you, if I saw this 2 years ago, I'd have been real excited. But tactics are what you imply on the battlefield, but you got to know your battlefields. The locations that you showed me in the running from Buffalo straight down seemed great for one market, but there's been dramatic changes to our patterns, and people are traveling less, and the low-hanging fruit, the real money that's available, is from our own state and from nearby states, and I don't see anything that captures that. I don't see an effort. And we've talked about this. I don't know if you incorporated our strategic plan, but the idea is there's a huge amount of money that brings folks to Orlando, to Tampa, and Miami. And there should be a strategic effort to capture them there for 3 and 4 days. That's where our high probability of return is, not bringing them down. It's getting a share of those that are already down here and adjusting to the changes in their spending patterns. I don't see anything in that that's going to encourage people to spend more money, to get them to places where they are spending more money.
Can we go back to the city target?
Yeah, I was going to say we have we targeted 7 cities in the state of Florida for that very reason.
But I guess, is that targeting residents of the cities, which dry markets, staycations, et cetera, certainly has appeal? Or is that targeting visitors to those cities, which I think is where Max was heading?
Right.
Or both?
No, you're targeting the people who live in those. It's a two-pronged approach, I would think. You're targeting residents, and then you're targeting people who are going to Disney. For example, when we do promotions with Visit Florida, usually we get people on the back end of a Disney trip because after they do the whole hustle and bustle thing, they want to come to this destination to kind of relax.
And to have a place where in their week they can have 2 days that don't cost them $1,000.
Well, yeah, that too, right.
And I don't see World Equestrian Center in Ocala, that area on there for the winter market.
Well, and the other side of it, right now, those southern Florida locations are not going to travel that far during their vacation. People are pricing their vacations to spend a lot less on where they're staying, the hotels they're staying in, the restaurants they eat in, and to find things in, for example, the Orlando or Tampa area that they can do as part of their big vacation to give them 2 or 3 days, which we'd be glad to get.
We need to discuss the elephant in the room, that we are still very light on hotel rooms. And our associated businesses, I understand that our budget comes from hotel rooms. But if our restaurants and tour operators die because of lack of business, we're in deep trouble overall as a destination. So we've got to keep those guys thriving. So the heck with trying to you know, the rooms are gonna fill with all of these efforts, I have no doubt, because the rooms are light. But we've got to boost drive traffic from hotel rooms in adjoining counties. Does that make sense? Because we are allowed to spend outside of Citrus County. And you gotta look at Marion County, because World Equestrian Center is enormous, and those people are wealthy, massively wealthy. And they do take a couple of days off, or at least one day off a week from training and showing, and I believe it's typically a Monday. And I have the equestrian context of, I used to compete heavily, so I'm not wealthy because I started off not wealthy, and then I spent what money I did make in my career on trying to do that sport, so, but there's some seriously wealthy people in that sport, so, think Jacqueline, you know, the M&M Mars fortune, the Campbell Soup fortune, that kind of money. Okay, so, pardon?
Go ahead.
Huh? Yeah, go ahead.
I would just, which one?
Well, he was first.
Yeah.
I would just add to, follow up on Max's comment. Being in the hotel business for longer than I can remember at this point, and standing in visitor bureaus and visitor centers, people do not make last-minute overnight accommodations once they're in the state. They make those decisions to add on to their stays, to stay in accommodations, maybe not stopping in for a burger, while they're still planning their trip before they leave their house. So to do a concerted effort for overnight room stays in Orlando, I think would be somewhat of a fruitless effort, because 87 to 90% of the people that are in Orlando at that point in time are not gonna come over here and sleep
No,
over here.
but that's my point, is they know, we don't know, but they know when somebody books Orlando, and there's gotta be a technical way to get and use that information, so that once they start filling out their week in
Okay.
Florida.
So not that they're in Orlando, but that they're planning to go to Orlando.
Exactly.
Major
then-
difference in the approach.
Although I personally would not book 3 days in Orlando without having done the research, like I would have the spreadsheet.
That's
I
my
wanna
point.
spend
Well,
2 days
Which kind of pulls
somewhere
back into
else.
Tom's world, is there an
Right.
app somewhere that we can see people doing this? And the answer
Yeah.
is probably no.
Well, that
So
goes to
once,
some,
once they booked, it's, I think, too late for most people. You've
Right.
done
For
the
overnights.
research on
For
the
overnights.
spectrum, and you're going to Daytona and Orlando, or you're going to Citrus County
but
and
that's,
Orlando.
that's my point, exactly. We're trying to catch them ourselves, instead of saying, who's looking at the Orlando area, and how do we talk them into building 2 days in here, or 3 days in here?
Does GDS advertising still exist? People don't even know what that is.
I'm looking at you, blank face, sorry.
Global distribution systems,
Yeah.
travel agents, when you were doing pairs between cities pairs,
Oh,
there
yeah,
would be
yeah.
ads you could pop up and say, you're going to Orlando, you should try this. You're going to Daytona, you should try, and you could buy whatever if you wanted to pay the ads for it. But going back to the point of what are travel agents' involvement anymore, which is underplayed all the time. At the same time, they're still booking billions of travel dollars every year, and we ignore them.
And growing all of a sudden.
Well, yeah, I know someone who's investing in a travel agency right now.
I would also be interested to know what age demographics this is geared towards.
Address that.
It feels more to me like it's to the 30-somethings with
Yeah.
kids. Well, what happened to our retirees that have expendable cash that, most of my customers, I hardly ever get a family with children. All of my customers are retired and they have plenty of money to spend.
I think that's print advertising.
Well, but we have to spend money, I mean,
What I was questioning is, what Max was saying is this northern region, Pittsburgh and Rochester, I mean, in what way are we targeting these locations? I don't understand, in the blogosphere, the universe of the internet, how do you target a specific region? And why are we picking these 4 cities?
It's not that it's not that we're picking the cities pick us. So when we see people come into the market and they're from, Michigan or Pennsylvania or New York, Boston, whatever it is, they kind of change a little bit. Then we put in, several retargeting or digital out-of-home campaigns for those markets, because they're shown through GPS-enabled devices that they're coming to the market. So it's not like, okay, well, let's just pick a random city in the East Coast and start marketing here.
Yeah, I know. Out of home, you're basically advertising to people through their streaming media to capture what they're seeing. But so what is our? I think our percentage is 74% of our tourists come from Florida.
Well, you have 50% from Orlando, roughly 45 to 50% from Orlando and Tampa. When we talked about, somebody mentioned low-hanging fruit. Over the last couple of months, we've shifted our funnel concepts to target not the local visitor, but of course, beyond 50 miles. And you've seen an increase in Orlando and Tampa traffic here. Over the last couple of months. I think it's a combination effect too as well. People are just staying closer to home, saving money. There's a lot of things going on. This is not a Citrus County issue. This is just a tourism issue and just in general. So I don't want it to be looked at as this is something that we're not doing correctly, or what everybody else is around the boardroom saying the same thing. How do you do it? How do you do it? I think that's why I had them, there's a campaign calendar, and it really shows a really good way of how we're trying to, what's on and what's off, in regards to our approaches and everything. And that's it's a good way how we target. You guys had a lot of questions. I'm trying to answer everything. So
I think what Max is talking about and what I'm talking about is if 26% of our cash registers are ringing from places, people coming from outside of Florida, and we're focusing on 4 cities in the Northeast around the lakes up north.
Well, those are specific campaigns too, right? So you can't, like, for example, we don't have the money to have a, let's just say, 20-city campaign, right? To have a penetration standpoint.
Sure. So you've decided to go after those markets because they're coming after us.
Because they're coming after us, and we also feel like, well, when you look at the demographics, when you look at the expendable income, they're spending the money. Not to mention, you would say, well, why don't we spend more? Why don't we do more? Max, for example, you're saying, hey, why don't we do more in the state of Florida, right, in the local cities? Well, here's the catch. People who are coming from Atlanta and other parts of the country, they're staying the night. That's what we collect. Yeah. So, I hear the concerns, I hear the problems,
I'm not saying don't do that. I understand. I've lived in that part of the country, and I understand how attractive this is. My point is, tactics are applied. Strategy has to be assessed and changed. The market has changed, and I'm not seeing anything that shows an adjustment. If you keep running up the center of a football field, you can get away with it once or twice, but if you don't adjust and throw a pass every once in a while, nobody's talking to me or us about how we capture more in the areas down below. If it's 75% of the available money that's going to come in, it should at least get some mention. There was no discussion of that.
So I would challenge that theory, because the funnel is what's changed. See, before, as a destination, if you guys don't recall, we were all about awareness, like a large part of our focus. So now, if you look at our funnel, I think they show that, and you can probably go to that slide, and I'll let you guys talk in a minute. But the funnel, we are now focusing on all the parts of the funnel, so we can get to that low-hanging fruit, as you just talked about. So those are some of the tactics, that we have changed in regards to how we attack this 3-pronged approach of getting more people into the market, while not overcrowding the market, while ringing the cash registers. Oh, and by the way, trying to fill the hotel rooms and the short-term rentals.
Okay, but what is, in my opinion, is needed is you develop a tactic to do a certain thing, and that certain thing, especially in a world where technology changes all the time. Tom's mention of if there's an app out there that people are storing their not everybody does it, but if there is such an app, that's a good company to do an ad with. But more than that is finding and leveraging where are people, how do we get to the people that are searching Tampa, Orlando, Ocala, that are going to those places, and intervene early enough to get those days built in. And then at the same time, to make sure that in our ads, we don't just sell manatees and redfish, because those are great things, but we find a way to talk about some of the really nugget restaurants that we've got and the eclectic things that they won't find in other places, or old Florida early on, so they know there's a reason. You know, when you go to Disney World, there's a reason to build, and Universal Studios is going to account for 4 days of your week. There's a reason to consciously come here. And it's got to be an early intervention, and I'm not hearing anything about how to get to that point. It's leveraging technology.
I would still take it one step above that, and I'm sorry, and identify what the problem is. If our hotel rooms are going to be full, or as full as is practical, our current stock of hotel rooms, RV spots, short-term rentals, if those are going to be full with what these current tactics are, okay, because nobody is gonna day drive, or very few are going to day drive 2 hours away to come here to do a manatee swim. The further away, the less it's going to be a day drive and go back to a hotel room, correct?
Right.
Okay, so I have heard a lot that our restaurants and tour operators and shops are really struggling. I mean, down 30 and 40% struggling. Okay, so I am not hearing that the current stock of hotel rooms and other reasons, places to stay is struggling as bad. Am I wrong?
No,
RevPAR results were down in July by 13.5% for hotels, branded hotels.
Okay,
RevPAR is an overall index that would let you know that the market's not healthy.
Right,
Okay.
and that's with 15% out of,
Well, no,
Inventory,
the
too.
RevPAR is the RevPAR is the RevPAR, regardless of
Right,
your
right.
inventory.
but
It's an
it didn't,
index.
that lack of inventory didn't drive up rates or occupancy that
but,
significantly
and
across
those
the
are the
rest.
sorts of adjustments that you would make every time you develop tactical applications. So,
but if
our-
that's down 13, would you say, yeah, that is
If I can jump
not
in.
nearly as bad as 30 and
We may have some
40%, I
answers
don't
from the
think.
folks that are supposed to be bringing answers.
So, we're done, for now.
If I can jump in, I can kind of address some of the concerns that I'm hearing. So I've heard a lot about travel sentiment and how that's changing. That's something that we have a data science team here at Miles that is continuously looking at how that travel sentiment has changed, not just for Citrus County, but across the board. There's a lot of that happening just in the world right now. A little bit of kind of a lot of people who are booking, canceling their bookings, rebooking. They're just really unsure about travel at the moment. And that's kind of like Ava said, that's not just something that's happening in Citrus County. That's something that we're seeing across the board. With that, we have talked with the Discover Coastal River team about reevaluating the markets that we target. We decided to postpone that for a couple of months until the fall because we want to get that data from this past summer to be able to utilize that in that market analysis, specifically because of the change in the travel sentiment that's happening right now. We didn't want to use data from last year to evaluate our markets for this year, from 2 years ago or the summer before, to influence our markets for this year, because there is such a change in the travel sentiment year over year. So that is something that we are looking at and we will continue to evaluate. Specifically, if I can address the Orlando and how we can target those specific, like people who are looking to book in Orlando, we can set up conquesting targeting for with our search tactics and our social tactics and our programmatic tactics. So those low funnel tactics where we can reach those users who are booking or looking to book or researching those destinations. That's something that we do generally with our targeting. It's not something that we go super in depth with normally on these presentations because sometimes it can get a little in the weeds, but it is something that we can do and that we're happy to add on. Also, with using our behavioral targeting, we're kind of able to reach those people by reaching them based on their interests. So we're aligning ourselves with interests that also, like if they're interested in going to Orlando, they're looking into the destination because they maybe it's Disney, but they also want to do, they tend to like outdoors. Our ad is going to show up next to that because they like things that they can do in Citrus County. So that's how we're reaching those qualified audiences, no matter where they are, even if they are booking in Orlando. Also, our retargeting is always based on a national retargeting. So that way that if someone is, let's say, traveling to a destination, they show interest in our destination, maybe they get served an ad because they're there for business for a week or two, and they get served one of our ads and they show interest in it, we don't want to lose them. So we're going to retarget them nationally. So if they've shown interest in the destination, then we're going to make sure we're reaching them no matter where they are.
And Orlando is a huge conference destination.
Yes, exactly. So if they are there for business and they see our ad, then we're going to be able to retarget them even if they go back home. And then for their next trip, we're top of mind. We're staying top of mind because we're going to continue to retarget them because they've already shown interest in the destination or a destination like ours. So there's many ways that we do that. The individual tactics that we're using don't necessarily affect that. That's more on how we target the audience that we would see that. And then lastly, I want to just quickly address the age demographic. So we see that actually a lot of older groups of people use social media as Facebook, for example, as a place as a resource, and print. Digital out of home always reaches them as well. So those are awareness. But they use a lot of those as well. And then all of our ads through our programmatic partner will also show up on any of the travel sites because people who are interested in travel. So if they're booking on a TripAdvisor or utilizing any of those OTAs, which a lot of older demographics do, we're going to be able to reach them there as well with our programmatic buy. We don't have to individually purchase those. It's a lot more cost effective for us from a media budget perspective, but we're still able to reach that audience there. So there are many different ways that we are incorporating all different age groups. Even though it can seem like it's a little digital heavy, that is just the way of the world, and a lot of demographics do still play into that.
Well,
So hopefully I answered a few of those questions.
You do, and for me, there's still further down we can go in the digital, but the other side of it is a campaign that is something like Citrus County, so close in miles, so far away in experience, that somebody from Orlando sees, that again tries to create to them, you're gonna spend $1,000 a day down there and you can spend $250 a day up here, or something along those lines, that we're not that far away. But a conscious thing to say, mix it up, we'll make it a better vacation.
Yeah, and also the conventions, Holly was talking about the conventions. When people come to a convention, sometimes if they like the area, they're gonna come with their family. Their family's gonna be doing Orlando, Disney, while you're at the convention, or while the working partner is at the convention. And then they're gonna add 3 or 4 more days to their convention stay personally to come here. Yeah. So that's targeting the person searching for Orlando to get them to add us on. And sometimes plans change too. I understand what Michael's saying, Mike Mankey's saying about the fact that, you get these people to book their hotels way a long time ahead of time because, where the good places are booked. And so you got to get your seat way ahead of time. So trying to get them while they're here is not as effective for gathering the overnight bed stays. But we're also looking at a downturn in retail purchasing while they're here. We have all these people in town for scalloping, and the numbers at the cash registers aren't ringing. So they're coming for the event.
Which is back to my point that we really need to focus on our restaurants, shops, and tour operators,
Mm-hmm.
because if they do not survive, we do not have that economy,
Right.
going forward. It'll rebuild, obviously, but let's not get there.
Yeah, it's
So
just, it's
let-
just not all about bed tax. Yes, to get them here, and that's the big dollars. If you get them to stay here for 5 days, 3 days, 6 days, that's the big dollars.
It's an ecosystem.
Yeah.
While we have them on the line, let me try to lead a discussion to make sure that I have board consensus for direction. Ocala is Marion County, so it's out of county. It's legal, correct? We can advertise there. I would suggest doing billboards around the World Equestrian Center. Look into going, to back up a sec, everybody's familiar with World Equestrian Center, right? It is one of the absolute premier equestrian destinations, literally, it's certainly in the United States and in the world. Typically, it's all English. Typically, these people are extremely wealthy or very lower level hangers-on like I used to be. And the wealthier ones spend the north, the hot months up north and then the cold months down here. Wellington used to be the bomb. It still kind of is. But World Equestrian Center is just like the Mac Daddy now, and it's got all the Olympic sports there.
Yeah, polo's just not so, Wellington polo, it's not as attractive as it used to be.
Won't get into the weeds on that, but anyway, so typically they'll have programs, they have websites that do all of the entries and everything else. So I think just a little bit of research will show that it's incredibly low cost to hit that market, because they do take a day or two off a week. There are people that are here in residence for months, and then some folks, like say really a high-end cosmetic surgeon that has a lot of, doesn't have a lot of free time, may fly in, spend a week competing, maybe do a side trip, maybe not, maybe here for a month or whatever. So that's that kind of jet set sort of lifestyle for a lot of these folks.
Yeah, we do look at the Ocala market. It's a little tricky because, of course, they
I'm
have
not talking about the Ocala market, I'm talking about the World Equestrian market.
Understand.
That center.
Yeah, but the small issue with that is it's about 35 miles. So it's, I hear you, I don't disagree with you, but it's from a statute standpoint and advertising, it's to specifically target it. It's a little challenging, just the way how we can spend the marketing dollars. That's the only issue with the World Equestrian Center.
Even though it's out of county?
Even though it's out of county, I have to look into it more to see.
I'm begging you, man.
Exactly.
It's cheap.
Yeah. It's not about the price for us. It's just more so.
Because I'm friends with a lot of these people on Facebook, and I see the adventures they do, and they ain't doing them with us. Because they're going off kayaking and doing other stuff, but not necessarily in Citrus County.
Yeah.
So, and they have, the old Florida experience like Luann has is fantastic. They have a lot of that in Ocala. But they don't have the lake right out back and the airboat tours and all that other cool stuff that's around the cove.
Well, what we can probably do is we can probably look at, from a special project standpoint, in addition to the actual media plan. So keep that in mind too. That's what we do a lot of special projects with. We're looking at the World Cup. We're looking at a lot of special projects, things we can add on to it. So what we can probably do is we've talked about internally special projects, doing activations within the villages. Same thing with the World Equestrian Center. So maybe we can do some sort of an activation, get with Miles and look at what kind of cool activations that we can do. Almost
the
like
villages would be fantastic.
Almost like a market takeover is what I'm accustomed to. So we can look at doing some things. And again, this is not replacing what we're doing. This is just, hey, this is add on, because we can do that in a special project form. For
Distillery bus tour from the villages or from Parkton Inverness.
That's actually that's a great idea. So Tipsy, Mike was telling me earlier that Tipsy Tarpon just, that could have been so many people on this board when I say Mike was just telling me. Joke never gets old in my head. That Tipsy Tarpon is just closed now 2 days a week. And that's a new restaurant that is now closed 2 days a week, and most likely because of lack of foot traffic. Just guessing. So we gotta help them. Figure out a way, please.
So
Does
definitely,
anybody
again,
disagree with that?
With some of the ideas, we can definitely do within special projects for sure. That's not a problem.
Okay.
So just kind of keep that in mind. It's not about replacing, I do approve, and I do like the plan and the direction, but we can definitely add in some of these things that we want to do to, stack on to what we're already doing. So I think that's a great idea.
It's a good start.
Yeah, great program.
You sure?
No, I am. No, I mean the methodology, the world that they live in, and the way that they reach out to get people. If you're one of the people that surfs on the phones like these people nowadays, who are the high spending earners, they are on the internet, they know it really well, and they're using their resources really well to figure out where to go.
True, definitely.
And your Miles is using wonderful tools to get to them. People don't understand how, why don't you have the manatee leaping out on the first engagement with the customer? Why is it high impact at the end? There's reasons, and they follow the rules and the trends. So they're great. We have to make sure that they understand that we're targeting the right people and spending that money, getting what we need right now. That's it.
Marketing has always been doing this 35 years at this point. Marketing has always been more scientific and technical than people ever thought. Many times my agency has replaced the secretary for doing ads. And I'm not kidding, get them to talk them into doing something big, and all of a sudden they're like, wow, this really works. Yeah. But today, gosh, it is extremely technical and scientific.
Replace the secretary for doing ads. What does that mean?
Literally, they had the person that was running the front desk, answering phones, designing ads, because it was her chance to play with crayons. Complete with misspellings and everything. Nothing against secretaries.
Administrative assistants.
Michael, thank you. Is there anything else? We'll let these.
Well, they got a whole
folks
half of
go.
the program to give us yet. They got a whole half of a program to present to us
Still?
yet.
I thought we got to the thank you slide. No?
I don't think so.
No,
did
that's
we?
all we have.
No, we got like half a program to go, so they might answer some of the questions you were just asking if we'd let them present.
Fair enough.
We covered all that we need in our presentation. If you have any other questions, let us know. But the deck that you have is a larger format of the media plan. We weren't going to go through all of those slides with you guys today, as it gets really in-depth and in detail. But if you have any questions on any of the specific partners or tactics, we can cover those now.
Nativo, why the lion's share to Nativo?
As in, why are we running with Nativo?
The budget, yeah, I mean, how
Yeah.
you said they were great. How are they great?
Yeah, so we actually ran with them this past fiscal year as well. So what Nativo does is they take our long form content, so our articles, and they are able to put them in the look and feel of any trusted publisher that they work with. So for example, if I go to Travel and Leisure to look for my travel content, I could see a Citrus County ad that's placed by Nativo, but it would look like it was written by Travel and Leisure. So it has the same font and header and look and feel of a Travel and Leisure article. So that's what Nativo does specifically. They create that long form custom content storytelling for awareness and driving that emotional connection to the destination. And we did work with them this past year and had very successful campaigns with them.
Good, thanks.
Any other questions?
Good job, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
I'm glad I wasn't crazy, you guys. So there was another half a deck to go.
I thought it was.
Receptionist, I believe, is the word I was looking for, Michael, not administrative assistant.
What were you looking for?
Receptionist.
Oh, receptionist, okay.
What page are we on?
Desktop publishing.
65-ish?
No, I think we're still 40.
Grant,
We do need approval though for the plan.
okay, somebody want
This
to make
is
a motion?
exciting. Dr. Sai's packet and my packet are different. Kelly, are we on YouTube?
We need an approval on this.
Oh,
So you said what was different, Mike? I'm sorry. It's not different, or is it okay?
I think we're there.
Okay, all right.
Well, the budget breakout outside is, outdoors is a lion's share of the business, and that's where they're advertising, the kind of advertising, and then the place that they're advertising is,
Second grade.
Nativo is the highest, and that's why I was wondering what they do well.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion to approve it, please. Someone?
Second.
Okay. Motion by Dr. Desai, second by Tom Craig. Any further board discussion?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
What do we
I'm
approve?
still trying to catch up. I don't know. All right, so
He speaks.
what are we paying for this? And what is like our return expected? So this is what we pay?
Yeah, hundreds of
All
thousands
these
of
num-
dollars, yes.
Okay. So what's the total?
So,
The total budgeted media plan is 915.5.
$915,000.
And it's gonna be effective October 1?
yeah, so also in that media plan, so you gotta keep in mind, we have several pass-throughs, so like our Zartico's in there, what else?
No, Zartico is
It's
separate.
separate.
It's all just the
For the-
media.
for the
but-
media.
But it does have everything that they line items out.
The local as well.
Correct, all the local as well.
So all the local is in there, and then we used to have like some of the, we had special projects for like local lines and
Local lines, the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Florida Insider Fishing Report. That was all
34 and
separate,
25.
so we moved all that
wanna be
into
up
the media plan.
Yeah,
Well, I
'cause
don't want, yeah, I don't wanna be obtuse about this. So, all right, so we're spending 900, almost
$15,500.
$1 million on this. Is there like overlap of what we spend through the TDC? I mean, or this is, you see, so, I mean, those 5 or 6 people are getting $900,000 to do this stuff? I mean,
Well,
am I?
No, it's not, okay, all right, so, no, it's not those.
I know
okay.
they're paying it out, but I'm saying it's,
Right. So as a DMO, as a destination marketing organization, that's what we largely spend our funds on. Okay. So we can't, it's not like, I don't want someone to look at this as you're spending $900,000 on this and we can build courts or something, you know, it's not, okay, I don't.
no, I was saying like that portion of our entire budget, like what's the return on that? Is there any like overlap in what we're doing? I mean, are we?
Well, the return is the growth in, like, for example, from our annual report, for example. So we're about tax collection 62 million from a hotel and short-term rental standpoint right now. So the last, from 23, 24, we are at collections of 2.8 million. Right now, we are projected to go over that at our highest ever, close to about 3.2. So the return is, of course, minus the rooms that we've had with the hurricane. So the return has gone up if that's what you're looking as far as the ROI. The return is in the impressions and things of that nature. So I don't know.
Did
I'm
you
trying
get
to-
an onboarding session with
I'm
staff?
trying to figure out what the
I
question
did.
is.
I'm just trying to. I mean, I know
'Cause
you all been here.
It's even coming from a marketing background, it was a little bit of a steep climb in some ways to figure some things out with the prior director
It is, because
especially.
my business comes from a different
Yeah.
sort of standpoint.
But are you clear on the 4 pennies versus the 5th penny?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
So
just,
the 4 pennies
I was
have
just
to be
asking, like,
spent
what
on
are
this,
they
so,
getting?
yeah.
You know, and I mean, I guess, and you all know this, I mean, you're getting more of a direct.
So, for example, it's not like the agency is getting $900,000. They're taking that dollars and they actually are doing our buys
Spending.
for us. So whether it's a Nativo, a TripAdvisor, Google, like they're paying Google for those searches. So it's not like Miles is getting $900,000. No, they're taking our money. You know, they take a service fee just like any agency would, anywhere in America. And then they take those monies and they do those buys according to what we decide on and what we feel was best for the marketplace.
Am I
I don't
correct?
think we have a overlap. We do our own Facebook pages and stuff like that.
Yeah, we do the social media, but they also help with social media and, you know, whether it's enhancements or whatever that is.
I realize this is not a training session. You know,
No.
but I just wanted to ask
What,
that question.
what
Yeah.
percentage are they getting on media?
Yeah.
They're not. Aren't they fees? They're fees.
It's a fee. It's a,
Yeah, they're
They
not
get a- they get a
getting
straight fee. They don't make-
percentage.
Yeah, it's
They
just
get
a fee.
straight, fee for the whole year, just to be our, to
Okay.
kind of manage our
Right.
account.
The media
Yeah.
placement's not commissionable.
That's a good question.
It can be.
It could be.
but keep
Yeah.
but
We
keep
have
but
to
keep
lower
in
the fee
mind
on
though,
retainer
when, you know, before.
Retainer versus-
I'm sorry, Mark. You want to finish or you?
I was gonna say, we decided on a retainer fee for the agency and not a commission with a net rate
Of
above.
course, it's just a fee. It's just
So that
misspoken
way
words. So
they're-
Because you can do one or the other or
We
both.
can do a combination.
Yeah.
Again, way back,
Yeah.
we chose to go no commissions, but on a fee retainer.
and what we also decided to do was better for the staff as well is we took all the local special projects that we do every year, and we just can't keep doing those as special projects. So we actually just put them into the media plan as well. So now they cut the checks and all that stuff. They manage that for us because it was just too much for us to manage when it's still marketing, it's still media, it's still magazines and all that. So now all that is in their media plan as well.
All right, well, that.
What's on their slide? It wasn't on ours. Okay, it's in there.
Always from a follow-up. Okay, so it starts October 1, so this goes to the BOCC in 2 weeks, so we're on a tight timeline to get it approved.
It's the same as every year. It doesn't change. We're always going to be on that timeline to get it approved. That's not going to change.
No,
That's just the-
no, that wasn't a knock, but that was more on us that we need to move forward or things are on hold come 1 October.
That is correct. If we do not approve, we will not spend, this is what happened. If we do not approve this, there will be no advertising. And then you talk about businesses not being
So let's-
promoted and
so-
destination not being promoted.
If everyone's done, I'll call the vote because Max also has to leave, so. Everybody good?
Okay.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
And I hear you loud and clear. We would definitely look into some special projects for the other markets, 100%, not a problem.
Thank you. Updates to grant applications.
Okay, I'm just gonna probably stay here. I think it makes sense. We're super pumped right now with the grant situation. We took a look at the grants, all three. I would probably say two. I don't know if we really had a capital grant. I think we just had something where you just asked for money and you just got it, I guess. But we decided to build out a more robust grant program. We have 3 grants in here: special event marketing grant, collateral materials grant, and our capital projects funding grant. With the special, and I'll just go over some highlights. Basically, what we did was 2 things. When I got here over 18 months ago, there was some angst in the community and with our local events people who were putting on amazing events and trying to bring more people into the community. The first thing, we had it one time a year. It just didn't work because what would happen is people would come into the office or reach out to us and they missed that window. And it's like, well, you gotta wait till next year. And they're like, wait a minute, well, we need it for this year. We're gonna go out of business. So that was an issue. So we decided to open up, we decided to, when we rewrote it, now the grant process is twice a year. Correct me if I'm wrong, January and July.
How long is the grant open window? Window open?
It's 30 days.
It's open around the month that people can apply.
So it's open July 1, what?
Well, it's in here, but
Yeah.
it's a little tricky because we
Well,
have
it's
to
a
get
lot.
it, not to get into the weeds on that. So it's all in the information. So it's open twice. the main part is we had to make sure it also fell in line with the TDC and both BOCC meetings too. So you have to understand, we have to kind of look at those dates. So I don't want to say it's 30 days exactly. It's just twice a year, and you have plenty of time to fill out the process, the application. That's the main thing, okay? Number two, we're now giving away more money, okay? We're providing more money, okay? In the special event marketing grant, if you notice on page 68, I'm sorry, let's go to 70. Option 1 was formerly $750. We are now changing it to $2,000. Option 2 was $1,500. We are now upping it to $5,000. Neither one of those require room night verifications, okay? The bigger one, from $7,500 to $10,000, requires room night verification, okay? So if you know you're not gonna fall in that well house, then now you can do option 1 and 2, and even though it's paperwork and it's a grant process, now hopefully our partners who are filling out the grant process will feel like it's worth it now that, you know, they're gonna get a little bit more bang for the buck. We feel in the office that the more successful that these events are, the more successful that the destination will be. That's just a fact. And we want it to be a part of the solution and not the problem. The other thing is the collateral, the second grant is the collateral grant. Starting on page
110.
Oh, I got it right here, 110, yes, thank you. That's just for brochures and things of that nature. That one we went to a $2,500 allotment from the 15. And any other changes on that one? And that's also twice, right?
It'll also be twice.
Yep, and that's also twice a year. So again, for people who have events, things pop up, you know, you basically, it's almost impossible to miss a window when we now have January and July, okay?
How are people notified that this is available and they need to apply?
Well, they're all gonna be on the website. So we're not gonna notify someone, they're gonna all live on the website, the actual grants, you know, once they're published.
Press release will go out.
Yeah, press release, of course, but we won't send out monthly notifications because we don't know who's gonna apply. But it'll all live in-house, on the website and then with the press release.
In years past, the Chronicle would also, everyone, do
Right.
an announcement there was a grant open. I gotta bug out, but can I make one point? And this is not a hit at all, but if we're gonna have meetings every other month, and especially when there's budget involved, if you could set a goal of having the packets to us 3 days before, it makes it a lot easier to come in prepared.
Yeah, at 4 o'clock on Monday afternoon, with all of this and spending $1 million, it's not enough time.
Okay.
And it's impossible for me because guess what's the day before?
That's fair.
Well, yeah, for me, it meant I was up till about 2:30 trying to read through it, and to be honest with you, that,
It's Happy
I had a
Tuesday.
real hard time understanding the presentation we just had. They're great folks, I like what they do, I didn't mean to be negative, but it really was hard to figure out what was going on, so if there's any way,
Noted and changed.
okay, thank you.
All right, the last grant, which is a doozy, is the Capital Projects Fund Grant, the CPFG. And this is something that needed a little bit of a work. The highlights for this particular grant is two. We had to cap the amount of projects, as far as the amount of the project. And so we have two. We have a up to $50,000 request ask. I'm sorry, I should have told you the capital fund grant starts on page 130. So it's up to $50,000 for an ask. That doesn't require as much economic impact reports and of course overnights. The other one is the 250, right, Allison? The max is going to be 250
What
or
page
20.
is the money on?
Sure, page 134. 134, if you look
Yeah, I see
at,
the 250, I was just looking for.
it is E.
You said there was a lower amount?
Yes, 50,000. somewhere.
The other ones, you had them back to back.
Yeah. All right, so look at page, actually, you know what, let's go to page 8, I'm sorry, excuse me, 137. That'll lay it out for you, apologies. All right, so under maximum award, if the funding is approved, capital project funding requests may not exceed 20% of the total projected cost with a maximum allowable amount of $250,000 per project. Note, only capital project requesting $50,000 or more required to complete an economic impact study analysis.
Got it.
So those are your two right there.
Okay.
Let me go into the $250,000 or 20%, for example, the maximum allowable. To be frank, we just don't have millions and millions in the coffer, and I'm gonna go over that in my report as well. But with the strategic plan, when we really want to have monies or whether we want to bond some money to build something special, whether it's a trail, bike cycling facility, indoor, outdoor, or whatever that looks like for that niche sports tourism or whatever that conference multi-purpose center that we want to do, we just have to make sure that, we actually have a strategic plan behind it to where, we have to hold over some money for that future, whatever that looks like for us. So that's where the 20% or the $250,000 maximum comes in at. We are here as an organization, as a TDC, I would think, to help be a part of a project, something special that's going to enhance our community. But we can't 100% fund a project, for example, when somebody's coming from ask. So,
we help we help save Crystal River and South River
and none of that won't change. It's just we got to put some more language to it. And then for the smaller projects, capital projects, with that up to that $50,000 request, they're not as as stringent on the requirements and everything because those are a little bit smaller. So we can kind of help out with that with the community project, whether it's museums, heritage and stuff like that. So we wanted to make sure that we covered all those bases because before the capital grant was honestly like a one-pager. It was just tell us what you need and fill it out and we'll take it to TDC. So this kind of puts a little bit more metrics to it. And I think it aligns with our strategic plan as well. So those are the three. And also, like I said, highlights again, twice a year. We're adding more money to it. I know a lot of folks are waiting on it. So we're excited about it and we're happy with the way it's written, legal approved, everything. So we did all that first. And now it's up to you guys to.
Three Sisters rebuild, they're gonna come ask us for money, right?
Yes. Yep. For the additional, like the observatory platforms and everything, which is gonna be beautiful, by the way. So.
Okay.
Any questions or concerns? I think people are gonna be excited about this change and the updates. And we also did away with the 3 years where you have to be fully sufficient and all that. We just took it away. It's especially with those collateral grants and stuff like that, and 2,500 to 5,000. It's I think we just want to build good relationships, and that's what we're focused on.
Is it still based on completion of the project before it's paid out, or is it paid out first?
It's all reimbursed. Yep, that won't change. Can change that one. All right. Any other questions? All right. And we just need.
Michael, what we did with the visitor center, wearing my other hat from the Friends organization, is we parsed it out into stages and paid it in stages, and then got it so it wasn't a complete cash flow out. It was a cash flow management, to break it up, and that worked with the county. But and that all had to be approved in the agreement by the county attorney. So yes, it is reimbursable, but you can do it in chunks. So the organization's not out the whole amount up front waiting for a check from the county.
Yeah, but when we do that, that's when we put together when we do the MOU. But again, not to get in the weeds, that's a whole MOU process. But yes, it's reimbursable. That's the only way. So I just need a consensus,
a motion for
so we can
all
take
three
this
combined or three separate.
I would like all three. We can do it. I don't know. Is it in ABSC? Yeah, combined, please. And then that way we go to BOCC.
I'll make a motion to approve the revised 3 grant applications and processes.
Second.
Motion by Mike Engels, second by Lou Ann Jacobs. Any further board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Good job.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. So I guess next it's going to be on us, on me. Destination report.
Hopefully we are, well, I guess we're not gonna stick the landing by 11, but
Yeah,
I have my budget briefing at
I'm
noon
finishing
and-
up in like 5 minutes. This
Okay.
is it. Just so you know, we're going to change the way we report, going forward. I'm going to kind of concise a lot of things, get you things obviously a little bit earlier now, and then, the hotel numbers, most of that stuff will be in the packet, and collections and everything, and then I'll go over some highlights and trends. I will be presenting at BOCC the 23rd for the strategic plan officially to the 5 of you. So that'll be really nice. I'm going to present some numbers. This is a slide from the presentation. Commissioner Davis, I know you'll be happy with this. I'm gonna skip real quick. The resident household savings per year, $898. All right, there's your printed number now. I feel like we floated a lot of numbers around for the last 2 months. So we're gonna.
I assume, is there a slide in here on this?
So it is not. Let me tell you why. Anytime I report, because of the deadline, that we have to the deadline is like 3 weeks in advance, so I just don't even know what I'm gonna talk about yet, so.
Can you make sure I get a copy of that slide?
I got you, and that's not a problem. Well, just so you guys know, we'll email this report out to you after the meeting. I think that's what we normally do anyway, but that's not a problem. Okay, why tourism matters. Tourism is economic development, job creation, 4,500 jobs. This is in 2024. Visitor spend, 526 million. And man, Chris, just imagine if we had more money to spend on marketing, more than that $900,000, that would be a bigger figure. So there's your ROI, my friend. Total tax revenue, 62 million. There's a difference. Tax revenue is from the short-term rental and the hotel lodging. That's the actual revenue that's gained from the pennies, okay? Resident household income, again, savings per year is $898,000.
And that is specific for Citrus County.
Yes.
And what was our specific number for Citrus County if we were to take the tourism tax and apply it to?
Gosh, it was
It's
a
like
credit.
It was $12.
It was a credit of
person
less than $20 savings annually.
per household.
Per household,
We
not
need
per-
to get
per
that number
person, yeah.
because that's the kind of insanity that needs to be pointed out to
Right.
Tallahassee over and over and over.
Yeah, I agree.
So.
All right, next slide. Some quick tourism metrics. It's just a snapshot. We host a lot. We do serve a lot of these numbers in our PIT meetings. This is for August of 25. Nothing really stands out. It was a little down from a percentage standpoint. Some of the spends actually were up when you look at the total spend that came from visitors. Restaurant was down a little bit. Of course, retail. They have categorized now arts, entertainment, attractions, all in the same thing. So I got some questions about that number, so I'm gonna dig into that a little bit more. Going forward, Zardico, we have able to have a new system to now we can take a POI, a point of interest, and I will probably focus it on the hotels. But now I can tell you, I will be able to tell once they're at the hotel where they're going into market after the hotel stop, which is really nice. I could do that from other places too, like a Three Sisters, LA Shilla Wildlife, the Cove, for example. So that'd be really nice too. I started looking to some of that, so that was a really good metric to have. Again, charting the path of our visitor, but it's all GPS enabled. Next slide. So we're gonna start doing things a little bit differently. I'm a pie and bar chart kind of person, and the way we do our funding and the way we report it's been a little challenging. So just to kind of show you guys where we currently are at. If you look at the reserve fund balance, the darker blue pie piece of the slice, It's 2.1 million basically. The capital fund also 2.1 million, and these are all current balances that we have in the bank. Special projects fund 2.5 million. Put in perspective, for 23-24, our tax collections were 2.8 million. And right now we're projecting for that 24-25 collection at a 3.2 million rate. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of what we're looking like and what our current balances are and stuff like that. So
This graphic is not in our packet?
no, it's not. This is something that I just created for my
This was
report.
fiscal 24-25,
And
which doesn't match up with the tax collection or the CapEx reserve.
what is that again, Michael?
It's last year.
No, it's this year, current fiscal
Yeah.
year, but you're saying special projects is 2.5, but on the report you gave us, we have 2.6.
Let's see.
What report is 2.6?
The one that says special projects,
got it,
funding
got it, yeah.
balance.
Yep. Oh, well, that was the budget at the top. Yeah, because I was looking at that. This says July and special projects, but capital reserve, the last update's June.
Let's see. Well, it doesn't have the total
Because
in
capital
there.
projects here is 1.8 versus 2.1.
It's one of the supplement pages.
Oh, look at that. Is it?
What's that?
Was this printed before, you think? Oh,
Well, I believe the difference in the special projects fund is gonna be that 135 budget transfer has not been taken out
Okay.
yet. So
Okay.
that's why it kinda looks different from our,
gotcha. Okay.
what the account looks like versus what we're kinda totaling up.
Okay. I'll adjust this before I send this back out to you guys and everything. So,
Avis, do you not have to follow the same rules we do on having backup on the internet? Like 7 days prior to the meeting? I mean, we do have
That's our
additional
intention.
information that comes in, obviously.
right.
But, by and large, we're supposed to have all the backup loaded up.
Even with my,
It's the intention to have it 7 days before, but as we're waiting on approvals to finish through, that's when we had the final approvals was on Monday. and that's when
I know you
everything
guys
starts.
are understaffed, just do the best you can,
Okay.
because there's a lot of public scrutiny right now on transparency, so. And it also goes to getting it 4 o'clock on Monday,
yeah.
so.
We'll update these, I'll update the numbers, because like I said, it doesn't show. We just had a budget transfer because GovOS just got approved.
Just
So,
wondered yesterday.
so it's so hard to
Yep.
update it, you know.
Moving target.
Yeah, it really is.
Well,
It
that,
really is.
you know, that or just put an as of date on it too.
Yeah.
Right, you know, this was the vision of the first.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's fair. Okay, the next slide. Hotel report, this is for, July. The occupancy, 24 versus 25. July, this time of year was at 60.5%. This year, we're at 57.7. The ADR for, July, again, of 2024 was $127. This year, we're at $115.
Average daily rate.
Yeah, sorry, average daily rate, yep. And year-to-date occupancy, we are, so basically, we're down month to month, from July last year to July this year. However, year-to-date, we are still in the positive. So occupancy, last year, the year-to-date, we were at 62.5%. This year, we're hovering a little bit close to 67%. Our ADR, average daily room rate, last year, year-to-date was 123.97. Through July this year, we are at 131.16. And our collections, again, we are, for May, and this is for May and June year-to-date. In May, we were almost 11% over year-to-date. June, which is our latest, because, we're 3 months behind from the collection standpoint. June, we are almost at 9%, so to date in regards to last year of a 2.3 million. So we're still, even though the last couple of months have been, we've lost some momentum. Everybody has. We're still over year over year. Next slide. Again, with the strategic plan, you guys have a copy of that, I believe, yes? Okay, you have the copy of the strategic plan. That's also going to live on our website as well. Just a quick highlight, from our strategic direction, we have our marketing and sales and public relations, goes into our visitor experience, goes into our advocacy. Again, you guys have already seen this. And next slide. And then 2025 and beyond, the opportunities are, number one, are the budget growth. We're aiming to do more. So, of course, thank you to BOCC last night, even though it was a late night. We officially have been approved to move forward with our GovOS services. And again, if you don't remember, this is going to be able to identify from a compliance standpoint of the short-term rentals, not only who's paying and who's not paying, but quite frankly, where the owners are from, out of state, in the county, out of the country. We'll be able to identify all that. So we're really excited about that. And the goal is to see a sharp increase of our overall collections. Also, we have hopes to future local tax collections versus the Department of Revenue, which is what currently collects our collections now. I would say they receive them. I don't know how much they're collecting, but they just receive them. And then something that Commissioner Davis and I, along with Mr. Mankey, they joined me on a trip to Seminole County. We are now investigating what's called a tourism improvement district, which is a TID, short for TID. And again, this is another way.
This is monster.
Yeah, this is another way we can potentially increase our budget as well with an assessment fees. With in partnership, 100 has to be a partnership with our hotel owner groups. And again, we're at the very, very, very beginning stage of this. Right now, we're just, investigating and seeing how it would look and everything. But there's 2 tourism improvement districts in the entire state of Florida right now. One is Ybor City in Tampa. They're trying to do one county-wide. But the most impressive one, I think, and this is the second one, is Seminole County. They enacted a tourism improvement district over the entire county. It is not a tax, okay? It is not a tax. It's an assessment fee on the hotels. So that's potential. Once we get with folks like, Dr. Desai and some other ownership groups and stuff, we'll have conversations. But this is a way to gain, and Luann as well, to gain a certain amount of a fee from a guest, like we normally see at Orlando, Tampa, because I see resort fees and all of my folios and things of that nature. But the great thing about this is designed to where we can control those monies and how they're spent. So you, the owners, would say, hey, I want to make sure we have 50% of that money go toward a big development site or whatever, whether it's beautification, more marketing, and things of that nature. So
travel ball, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it'd be a separate committee, 7-person committee actually for the district. So again, not to get to the details, we're just in the beginning of that, but that's just something down in the future that we're looking at to doing. And then not to mention with tourism constantly under attack with taxes and property taxes and things of that nature, this is another way where we can secure funding where it actually cannot be touched, because it's a fee and not a tax. So, but I'll be in touch with Dr. Desai, Luann, and all the other owners to, really probably do a meeting and sit down and, and just talk about.
Don't think resort fee,
what
think
it does.
like a tenth of that, like tiny.
Yeah, like a $3 fee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
it's easy enough to pass through without.
Does it apply to vacation rentals or just hotels?
It's hotels. It's hotels.
Okay.
It's hotels.
So this coincided with a number of people have lamented to me the fact that we failed in buying Rock Crusher Canyon for keeping it as a concert venue and theater, expanding the theater and all that. So in January of '21, when I'd been on the board 2 months, I did an entire business case for buying the property. And we were a little too late to the table, and also I didn't have any board support. But the funny thing is that now people are like, really wish we still had Rock Crusher. Really wish we still had Rock Crusher. And I was like, yeah, we missed that. Has everybody here been to concerts at Rock Crusher?
Mm-hmm.
So, really nice venue that could have been developed quite nicely. And back to Max and Tom keep pushing, rightfully so. Off-road biking and things like that. That could have been a heck of a mountain biking course, because that is like the second highest point in Citrus County. You can see all the way out to the Gulf on the top of the ridge. And there's a house up there that could have been used. I did, like I said, a whole business case to at least make it.
I just took a visit up there, actually.
To at least make it a break-even proposition for the county parks. But it would have been, with all the development that's going on around there, and that's a really great place to also consider siting travel ball teams and more hotels in that area. I mean, that was essentially what my business plan was. Unfortunately, it then was bought by a developer, and he's planning, but he's already gotten approval for homes there, but he hasn't started, so never say never.
Yeah, but it's going to be homes.
When do you think?
Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah.
He might be toying with me, but.
Right.
Pardon?
I was gonna say, when do you think you'll have some usable numbers on the short-term rental collection?
Well, I mean, we should probably have something pretty immediate, once we officially start the service. So, I mean, within really days, so it's and then not to mention, because we'll be sending out, we'll immediately start sending out notices to the owners, and then along with the letters, it will be screenshots of the actual ads that they're placing for their dwellings. So,
See, I think that would be a good presentation to some of the municipalities, like the city of Crystal River.
Yep.
City of Inverness and things like that.
100% will be doing that for sure. Once everything kind of comes in, we'll be doing that for sure. I'm sure both, obviously the city of Crystal River and Inverness will be interested in that type of information. But yeah, so we're making a sizable investment in that, but we do believe that it's an investment that will pay off in the long run. And that's, my job here is to find more money, increase the budget. That's what it's all about for me.
There's also the legislation to actually enforce it, right?
It is, but the thing is with the short-term rental, Tom, is that when you have the Department of Revenue receiving the funds, places, your larger platforms, you're definitely receiving the collections from, but the 40-plus other platforms, we just really don't have any way, or they don't really have any way of enforcing it, I should say. And that's a problem. So excited about that. Of course, I can't thank you all enough for your support and your help and your time with the strategic plan. So I think you all deserve a round of applause for that. That's when you clap for yourselves. All right, pat yourselves on the back. But thank you again. I will talk about the opportunities. I think there's still more opportunities with our Partners in Tourism program. I think that's growing, but I think we can do more with it. I don't want to tell you right now, but I think we can do a lot more with it. So I'm excited about that. And then, of course, the restructured grant program. I think that's something that a lot of the community has been wanting, at least our partners have been wanting more now of, and we're excited to bring on new partners because the more partners we have and the more money and more things we can partner with, I think it's going to be the betterment for the overall destination at the end. And with that, that's really it.
Thank you.
Really it.
And,
all the other details, of course, and I'm going to fine tune, and I'll fix the money amount. I'll work on, of course, the 7 days, and at least we can maybe put it in there initially, and then I could just probably make updates and changes or something like that. So we can figure that out, Christine and I. That's not a problem. Yeah, with the
Yeah, any issues you're having, obviously, just talk to Steve about it. I'm not supposed to be directing you, remember?
yeah, I understand that. Yes, I understand
That's a
that.
really good question that we didn't address yesterday. What happens when we each individually sit on boards that we're essentially, as part of this board, directing you,
Right.
right? So, you know, Commissioner Finnegan's on the Veterans Board, for example,
Yeah.
and Phil Watson is on that, so it's kind of an interesting conundrum. Shout out to you for the Tourist Improvement District
Oh,
research
thanks.
and idea and setting that up. So that was not a great week for me. That really blew my schedule up to go over there, and I was really thankful I did it.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time, you know.
That was a monster idea, so kudos.
And I had to have Mr. Mankey there because that was my hotelier, and I needed him there because he can poke holes in all that stuff and ask a lot of questions, and which he did, rightfully so, because even I
He
couldn't.
doesn't poke holes in
You know,
things
I couldn't.
at all.
I couldn't answer all the questions. You know, we had, you know, and I think we still have questions. You know, but at the same time, on the surface, it looks like it can be a good thing on the surface. I think we still need to do some digging, but I'm excited to still do that digging with you all by my side.
That is a highly valuable skill, by the way. I was just teasing.
Thank you. The wife doesn't like it either.
And that's all I have.
You know, I said I like it, so.
Keep it at work.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else before I open it back up to the public? Anyone?
Kudos for keeping Chaz.
Yes.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
That was such a long day, and it was and we were like, please, please, please no more open to the public, but it was nice because it was a balm to everything that had happened, because I'm sitting there going, this is gonna be like a lightning fast 5-0 vote. But it's just, it ended up being a very nice balm after a very rough day. That 3 hours of that was heartbreaking many times. Hi.
Well, good morning, everybody. Al Pasquale with Discovery Map of Citrus County. Just wanted to let you guys know I've passed out 175,000 maps within and outside the county, including with Visit Florida. To address Ocala and the equestrian center out that way, I do go to all the hotels out there and to the RV park that there. It's huge.
Oh, good.
So they're getting that information. It's been well received. They are using the maps. I've been there several times to replenish. I also go to Ocala to all the hotels and the RV parks. And actually the RV sellers are really excited because they're putting them there and they're putting in the packets. When they buy an RV in Ocala, they've got to do their first trip. So I'm trying to see if, hey, you know, it's a nice short ride. We can get used to our equipment, you know, see how it is, and then we can plan our bigger trips. So I've been doing that also.
Are you hitting the hotel at the World Equestrian Center?
I'm sorry?
Are you hitting the actual hotel
Yeah,
at the Equestrian
yeah,
Center
there's
that
you know,
overlooks the
their
arena?
main hotel,
Yeah.
right next to it, they're doubling their rooms availability there. So I think that's gonna be done next year. So that's huge, I mean, for the number of people that go there. And like you're saying, they go there, then they're looking for day trips to go do things, or even to go fishing or set up tours and stuff like that. The other thing I do is I go all the way to Weeki-Washi to try to capture some of the people that are actually staying there, to bring them this way to spend their money, and go out to Cedar Key, because people go on fishing trips, but if they're with family, they want to go do other things. And they've actually, going up through Yankeetown and Inglis, they want to see if they can develop a map like the one I'm generating. They've already contacted me.
Oh, good.
So make sure we get this one
Are you
right,
hitting
and
the
then we're gonna
villages?
work on that. I do go to the villages, same concept. I'm going to all the hotels because a lot of people go to visit family members, not necessarily staying with them. And while they're there visiting family, they're doing trips with family and bringing people. And we already know we get a lot of people coming from the villages to do events here, go fishing, just
Is there
to
any other
see.
place in the villages that's not a hotel, like, I don't know?
There's a little bit of a restriction. I'm trying to work with the person that does the marketing there. I told her after I finish this printing, which is at the end of this month, to be able to place it more in the open areas and things like that. So I just got to see what their criteria are to do that, and that's going to be next for me.
Okay.
And I like to add too with Al, we are now a paid partner, because this brother has hit the ground literally running, and he's pretty much all over. Not only does he disseminate the maps, but he's even taken visitors guides and stuff like that from collateral from our office. So I appreciate him, and looking forward to
You
continue
almost
partnering
feel like
with
a staff member, because I see you everywhere.
Yeah, when I do tabling events and like that, anybody on the map, I try to do the brochures or their cards or whatever they may have. I've also passed out, and since I'm there, giving out stuff for the local area, for the chamber and for the visitor centers, guides and stuff. That's out thousands of them too, so. My goal is really to support the county and support the small businesses, get people here and, spread the word, so.
Cool.
And ironically, I'm originally from Miami. We all know Cedar Key. And I was just talking to my brother last weekend. He's like, man, I haven't been up to Cedar Key. And I'm like, we're 60 years old. When are you going to go?
Yeah.
So, bringing people down and talking it up when I'm down there visiting family and stuff, so.
Yeah.
Do you have I know that it's not digital because.
It is digital, actually. Yeah. At the top of the map, there's a QR code.
So.
Discovery Map is 50 years old. They have a digital platform, and they're ranking higher on Google searches.
So I
too.
can include that in on a email blast or.
Yeah, they already do their marketing on their end of it. They promote the map nationwide.
Thank you.
And the franchise is actually in Canada, Mexico, the U.S., obviously, Puerto Rico, and Hawaii. So people that have used the maps in the past tend to go to the platform to see where their next destination is. I actually have a map that's 25 years old. That's part of the reason why I jumped on board with them. So.
Well, thank you, Al.
Thank you, guys. And like he's saying, we're going to be putting you guys at the top of the map to focus the area too and work with them.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You just hanging out?
I'm really excited about grants.
How is Main Street doing? That's where I'm hearing rumbles. Just individual businesses not having the numbers that they normally do. Restaurants.
So, yeah, you guys were talking about the struggles with, Tipsy Tarpon closing.
2 days a week. We're on camera.
But,
It's 2 days
yeah,
a week.
2 days a week.
Not closing.
But I am seeing overall
They're
a lot
dark
of my,
2 days a week.
Yeah. A lot of my businesses have changed their hours in the days they are open. I popped into one of my local shops. She needed some help. She was painting the windows for St. John's. She needed somebody to watch the shop. I was there from 10:30 until 4, and 8 people walked through the door. So there is not a lot of foot traffic during, manatee season, and typically old scallop season. You would never find a parking spot on Citrus Avenue, and there is parking on Citrus Avenue. So the numbers are definitely down in Crystal River. We are working on our Untapped event, which is coming up in November, which will force people into those stores because it's a sip and stroll. We've already started selling tickets. We got sponsorships for it. There's been a video on Facebook some of you may have seen. We've had over 10,000 views on it. I was working on some more marketing stuff that would be free, but putting it on YouTube. I'm going to start reaching out to radio stations and different things to continue to push that. I've started targeting my Facebook ads for Orlando, Tampa, Ocala, Jacksonville, places that could potentially bring us some overnight guests also. I know our first event when we did on Court, which we threw together a lot faster, realistically in about 2 weeks, we had people from Sumter County and from Pasco County that came up. So we use Zephy, which is a nonprofit platform for ticket sales, which gives us that data to let us know what area or what zip codes the customers are from. So our most recent ticket sales were from Inverness. So,
Luann, how many people do you get from the villages?
A lot.
So I know that they're going to Inverness because I've heard this from other restaurants.
Yeah, I've been over to the freezer.
Yeah.
And listened to people talk there from the villages. So I mean, they're
Are
coming
people
over here.
driving themselves and
Yes.
just have a designated driver? Okay.
They're early crowd.
Yep, they are.
Okay.
Yeah, they like to be
But
home
that
by
might be
7.
fun to have, I don't know if there's a bus trip that could be done from the villages for the
we
sip
could
and
look
stroll.
at doing something with that.
Yeah, I think
put
that distillery thing
touch.
was genius.
Yeah,
Get a bus tour over
Yeah.
there, but, you know.
because we have 3 distilleries now that I'm aware of. We have more.
Well, Aggregation and Homosassa Distillery are coming in with our event. We have Marker 48, we have Tidal, and then
Because you know
Cop.
there's Storm,
Cop and.
there's Storm Distillery in Inverness. I'm just
Storm
talking
and-
about just liquors.
and,
Something 9,
Nine State.
9, yes.
Yeah, 9 State.
But, I mean, that's a pretty big area to cover with one bus tour.
True.
I mean, you'd have to do.
Well, and if with the sip and stroll, all of these people are bringing their beer to us, and it's going inside of our
That's why I was
stores and our
thinking-
restaurants.
I was tagging
So-
off the bus idea
Yeah.
to bring him to Sip and Stroll.
But if we could
Would
do
be
that, because it's a
interesting.
4 to 8 p.m. event, so if we could get a bus, bring them in, you know, and take them home, that would be beneficial. I'll work with my board on this and see if we can't, because I know Julie Kelly has some connections with the bus people.
Yeah, and listen, talk to the chamber, because I know the villages sends buses over for Manatee Festival, so there may be a quick connection there.
Right. Yeah, I'll see what we can do. Maybe we tack on a few extra dollars on the ticket price, but hey, you guys get a full ride round trip. So we will definitely, we'll work on figuring that out, because that could be a very beneficial thing. The other thing I was gonna look at doing was trying to do package deals with hotel rooms. If we start getting more people from out of town, setting up tickets and hotel room packages to maybe help keep the people in town, so they're not driving also, especially if we get them from far away. So it's a lot of fingers and a lot of places trying to get it all thrown together, especially with it being a new event. It started out as just a beer and cider, and now it's beer, cider, cocktails, mocktails, and food. So it's a lot. But yeah, but no, I am really excited about the grants. So
Well, you've always done a great job in this
Thank
role, and I know you bust your tail in it. It's just trying times that we just have to keep working harder to
Yeah.
be smarter and figure it out, so.
it really is. I had business owners asking me, you know, hey, like, you're finding grants. How are you doing this? What can you do? And, you know, that kind of stuff. So I'm also actively working in the background to try to find additional funding to help our businesses.
Have you ever, I'm sure you've seen the list of the approved main streets in Florida. It's ridiculously short.
Yeah, that are actually.
There's like 35 or 40.
No, it's 56 if you count Orlando. So one of the discussions we've been working with other groups.
But
so-
that's, we have 67 counties.
Yep. And not every county has one, because it takes, and
Like
there's
like
affiliated.
Inverness should have a main street.
They should. And
So-
from my understanding, Frank tried to do that, but he couldn't get the buy-in from the businesses. Frank DiGiovanni. So,
We have downtown Inverness business, there's 32 people that are on it, and
Maybe you
there's
should try
meetings
again.
once a month.
Yeah, but if you actually had a designation, it'd
It's
open
a
up the
designation.
businesses to more dollars, basically.
so my Main Street district had 2 businesses that received $10,000 grants because they were in a Main Street district. They were hit with a hurricane and they applied for the grant, and it was from American Express. But that was only open to businesses within a main street.
Yes.
Main streets, I get funding from the state, I can apply for funding, and I don't have to match that funding, whereas any CLG or any other organization would have to match that funding. So there are a lot of benefits to having a main street. And I know with Citrus County only having 2 municipalities, we've been in discussions, I've talked to a few different people about trying to create a county-wide Main Street program. So you would have one director that would oversee multiple programs with multiple boards for each program.
Sounds like a lot of boards.
But if you had a board that focused on Floral City and all they did was worry about the historical preservation and the economic vitality of Floral City, think of how much more you would get done. Homosassa was faced with a hurricane and they had to reach out to the Civic Association because the county's already spread thin. They don't have a city, they don't have any other organizations that step in. So Main Street even, we got food from our downtown businesses in Crystal River that were reopened. We took that food to Homosassa and we fed those homeowners that had nothing.
Right.
So having an organization that has a lot of fingers in pots, so to say, nationally and state and locally can really benefit a community.
And are the downtown business owners pretty much rowing in the same direction now than they were more in the past in Inverness?
Yeah, it's Sandy.
So then
She
you,
runs it, and that's who I work with.
so you already have the framework and the
They
buy-in to
they
work
have,
together.
monthly meetings,
Look,
and
look into the
they
Main Street
bought
program.
into, they buy into things together.
That's the
bought-
first time I did a dive on that website, was
Yeah.
when we were over there for TID, so. That's another way for us to do the Floral City, Homosassa, Inverness, Crystal River
Yep.
designation for us as a county, moving more in that direction.
Yep.
Rather than simply Discover Crystal River, so.
I didn't realize it was a organization outside of our area.
Yeah, no, it's actually national. There's over 12,000 Main Street communities throughout the United States. So, and I can send it to everyone that would like to
It's
see
another,
it,
it's
but we
just
just
another
did our,
competitive advantage
yeah, we just
for
did our
everything.
impact report to the CRA this past week, so.
for funding, for advertising, for all of that,
Yep.
so. Cool, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, anything else, board? And we are adjourned.